Ever find yourself staring at that humble pan on your stove, maybe while you're flipping a pancake or searing a steak, and just wonder, where did this simple yet utterly essential tool come from? It's something we use every single day, but its story is one that spans thousands of years, full of innovation, fire, and some surprisingly brilliant ideas. Today, we're going on a journey to uncover the secret history of the pan and the saucepan. It's a story much more sizzling than you might think. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a pan? At its core, it's a flat-bottomed vessel used for frying, searing, and browning foods. The low sides are key. They allow moisture to escape, which is crucial for getting that perfect crispy texture. Now, its close cousin, the saucepan, is a bit different. It has higher straight sides and usually comes with a lid. This design is perfect for cooking anything with liquid, think soups, sauces, or boiling pasta. The high sides prevent splattering and slow down evaporation. Simple, right? But the journey to these perfect kitchen companions was a long one. To find the earliest ancestors of our modern pans, we have to travel way, way back. Picture this. Ancient civilizations, long before the convenience of a modern kitchen. Early humans were already cooking over open fires. Their first pans were probably just flat rocks heated in the embers, used to cook doughs or sear meat. Archaeologists have found evidence of clay cooking vessels dating back thousands of years. These early pottery dishes were revolutionary. For the first time, people could contain liquids and cook things like stews and porridges. However, clay had its downsides. It was fragile, heated unevenly, and could crack under thermal shock. It was a start, but humanity needed something better. The hell game changer was the arrival of the Metal Age. Bronze, and later iron, completely transformed cooking. Imagine the clanging workshops of ancient Rome or Greece. Blacksmiths would take a chunk of metal, heat it in a roaring forge until it glowed bright orange, and then hammer it relentlessly into shape. It was grueling, physical work. They deflatten the metal into a disc and then painstakingly hammer the edges up to form the sides. Handles, often just a simple extension of the metal, were forged and attached. These early metal pans were heavy, clunky, and probably a nightmare to clean, but they were a massive leap forward. Metal conducted heat far better than clay and was incredibly durable. You could place it directly on a fire without fear of it shattering. This is where frying, as we know it, really began. The Romans, for example, had a shallow frying pan called a patella, which is where we get the name for the famous Spanish paella. For centuries, cast iron reigned supreme, from medieval hearths to colonial American kitchens. The cast iron skillet was the workhorse of the home. Making a cast iron pan was a spectacle of heat and molten metal. It starts with a mixture of iron, or coke, and limestone heated in a massive furnace to over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The molten iron is then poured into sand molds. These molds are made by pressing a patering the shape of the final pan into tightly packed, moist sand, creating a cavity. Once the iron is poured in and cools, the sand mold is broken apart to reveal the rough pan inside. The pan then goes through a finishing process to smooth it out and is often seasoned by applying a thin layer of oil and baking it. This creates a natural, non-stick surface that gets better with every use. Have you ever inherited an old cast iron skillet from a grandparent? That's why they last forever. They are a testament to a time when things were built to endure. But cast iron, for all its glory, had its drawbacks. It's incredibly heavy, takes a while to heat up, and can rust if not cared for properly. So, the quest for the perfect pan continued. The 18th and 19th centuries saw the rise of copper. Copper pans became the darlings of professional chefs, especially in France. Why? Because copper is a phenomenal heat conductor. It heats up quickly and, more importantly, evenly. No more hot spots that burn your food in one place while leaving it raw in another. The process of making a copper pan was an art form. Coppersmiths would hand hammer sheets of copper, a technique called which strengthened the metal and gave the pans their beautiful, dimpled appearance. Because copper can react with acidic foods, these pans were lined with a thin layer of tin. this lining would have to be periodically reapplied, a process called A copper pan was, and still is, a thing of beauty and a symbol of culinary excellence. The 20th century, however, brought a whirlwind of change driven by industrialization and new materials. Aluminum, once a precious metal, more valuable than gold, became cheap and abundant thanks to new manufacturing processes. Aluminum is lightweight and an excellent heat conductor, making it a natural choice but early aluminum pans had a problem. They were soft, dented easily, and reacted with certain foods. The solution: anodization. This is an electrochemical process where the aluminum pan is submerged in an acid bath and an electric current is passed through it. This creates a hard, non-reactive, and corrosion-resistant layer of aluminum oxide on the surface. It's like giving the pan a suit of armor. Then came the material that would arguably change home cooking more than any other: stainless steel. Invented in the early 1900s, stainless steel is an alloy of iron, chromium, and sometimes nickel. The chromium is the magic ingredient. It forms a passive, invisible layer of chromium oxide on the surface that protects the iron from rusting. Stainless steel is durable, non-reactive, and looks sleek and modern. But it has one major flaw: it's a poor heat conductor on its own. How do you solve that? You create a sandwich. Modern high-quality stainless steel pans are often clad, meaning they have a core of a highly conductive metal like aluminum or copper bonded between layers of stainless steel. This gives you the best of both worlds: the durability and non-reactive surface of steel with the superior heating of aluminum or copper. Creating these clad pans is a high-tech process involving immense pressure and heat to bond the layers of metal together into a single, inseparable sheet, which is then stamped and formed into the shape of the pan. Of course, we can't talk about modern pans without mentioning the non-stick revolution. In 1938, a scientist at DuPont named Roy Plunkett accidentally discovered a weird, slippery substance called polytetrafluoroalkyl, or PTFE. It was one of the most slippery materials known to man. For years, they didn't know what to do with it. It took a French engineer's wife to suggest putting it on a cooking pan. In the 1950s, the brand Tefal was born, and the non-stick pan took kitchens by storm. Suddenly, cooking delicate foods like eggs and fish became foolproof. The process of applying this coating is complex. The pan's surface is first roughened by sandblasting to help the coating adhere. Then, a liquid form of the PTFE-based coating is sprayed on in multiple layers, and the pan is baked in an oven at high temperatures to cure it, bonding the coating to the metal. Over the years, concerns about the safety of these coatings led to innovations like ceramic non-stick, which uses a silica-based gel in a process called Sol-Gel to create a hard, glassy, non-stick surface. So, from a simple heated stone to a multi-layered, non-stick marvel, the evolution of the pan is a story of human ingenuity. It is a reflection of our ever-growing understanding of materials science and our endless desire to make life in the kitchen just a little bit easier and more delicious. The next time you pick up your favorite pan, take a moment to appreciate the centuries of history and innovation you're holding in your hand. Every sizzle and sear is a connection to a long line of cooks who came before us, all striving for that perfect meal. What kind of pan is your go-to in the kitchen? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your favorite kitchen tools. Thank you so much for joining me on this culinary history adventure. If you enjoyed this story and want to uncover more secrets hidden in everyday objects, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us continue to create content just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.